Hello there, my name is Adrian Pyne and I'm the author of Agile Beyond IT. This is the first of several video logs I'm going to do on the subject of business agility. It's largely prompted by feedback I've had from the book since it was published last year, and in particular from senior managers. Now, business agility has been surprisingly consistently described, whether it's from articles in things like CEO and Forbes magazine, or indeed from consultancies like PA Consulting, McKinsey and Gartner, or from technology companies with products in the sort of agile space, such as Cisco and ServiceNow. Now, how they describe agility is essentially things like getting more from less, the adaptability of an organization to meet changing conditions and markets, the flexibility of its people, the processes and systems to enable that adaptability, and rapid decision making as well. Now, this is all based on something called the Agile Manifesto, which was defined in 2001 for software development, but it's long since moved beyond that, hence the title of my book, Agile Beyond IT. Now, what's surprising is that the consistency in that business space is not mirrored by the consistency about what agility looks like in other sectors, such as my own. I started out in the project management space, but even in software development, there are huge differences and misunderstandings and misinterpreting of the Agile Manifesto, oversimplification, and just downright abuse of it. So again, another thing that sort of prompted these things is, and indeed the book itself, is to try and show what agility really does look like, and to avoid organizations from, frankly, investing in errors and wasting an awful lot of money. And that's what these sessions are mostly about. Talking of money, I'm going to kick off with the million-dollar question. Is business agility worth it? And it's the most common question I've had from the senior managers who fed back to me. And they've looked at some of the chapters I've got in the book on the value of agility and how do I become agile? How does my organization become agile? So what I really want to look at is it worth the massive transformation that is required in order to move your organization and your operating model towards one of agility? And let me be frank, it is a massive transformation. It's not an easy thing to do. So therefore, there really has to be a compelling business case for the board to do. And any such business case, I think needs to address two questions. First of all, what measurable value are we going to get from business agility? And secondly, dare we risk not moving to business agility? Now, because that's kind of the bad news, I'm going to explain that risk first to get the bad news out the way. And what I'm really talking about here are disruptors. For example, Tesla in the automotive space, Amazon and others in the retail space, which has absolutely transformed and some would say decimated our high streets. But also there are many players in things like the finance space. And all of these disruptors, all of them have come in, whether they don't describe themselves as agile, but they really are agile, have agile running through them like words in a stick of rock. And if I go to a number of the reports on business agility, just for example, the PA Consulting's 2021 report, they clearly evidence that agile organizations are more profitable than non-agile ones. So the question you just have to ask yourselves is, in the sector that your organization is operating in, are the disruptors in that sector, are they just nibbling away at your market share, or are they biting great chunks out of it? And if it's the latter, well, then probably the question answers itself. You need to be moving towards agility, despite the difficulty of doing so. See, I'm not sugarcoating any of this. It would be foolish for me to do so. But now on to the plus side of the equation. The value from agility, I think, comes from two levels. First of all, the bottom line, which, as I say, is suggested by the PA Consulting's 2021 report, and you can go out there and Google for yourselves, and there's plenty of other reports that show the value of agility to organizations. So looking at the bottom line, what is that sort of value? And it's often said that agility is getting more from less, which essentially means lowering your unit costs. That's the ka-ching moment, gaining the operating efficiencies. And I can give you one example, which is very much, I think, in many organizations' hearts at the moment, and that's digitalization. This is a huge opportunity to transform your organization for future operating efficiencies, to lower your unit costs, etc. But it's not just an IT challenge. Those efficiencies means that you can also transform the way in which your operating model works, the way in which your organization works, the way people work, the way that they behave. So it's a great opportunity to introduce more agility, more flexibility, more adaptability. So if you're going to do that, that is agility, but it should be done deliberately and not by accident. Which brings me on to the operational benefits here. And agility requires collaborative behaviors. That's the first thing I'll mention. And empowerment of people, which can be a risk, of course, as some of the financial scandals of 10, 12 years ago well evidenced, but they can be managed. Such a risk can be recognized and be properly managed. But what such collaborative behaviors, what empowerment does, is has a massive positive impact on morale, for example. It aids the retention of staff. It aids recruitment, which is still a challenge in these post-COVID times. Such a culture greatly reduces conflict, and which wastes both time and money. And win-win is far better than a zero-sum game in the medium and to long term. And frankly, that's what we're talking about in making an investment in your organization's operation for the long term. So those are the real positive benefits, the purely, if you like, financial ones, plus also the ones that will make your organization sing and really sort of pop, as it were. But some words of caution. Agility is not a magic bullet. It's also not something that you can just pick little bits of and do a bit of agility and expect to get a great deal of value. You can do a bit of agility. You can implement some of the values, 4 values of the Agile Manifesto and the 12 principles, but you'll only get a bit of value out of it. You need to do all of it, build all of it into your business ops in order to get the return on investment. And it must be sustained. Don't treat it like the next badge to show off at a CEO dinner. Agility can be the future for your business ops, but it's like getting to Carnegie Hall. You gotta practice. Thanks very much, and hope you are tempted to come and see some of the further vlogs I've got on the subject of business agility. Thank you. Goodbye.